My name is Malcolm Tibbs. I spent 25 years getting inconsistent results in my love life, and now not only do I have a fulfilling relationship, I have the ability to snap my fingers, and within a week, I can have half a dozen dates lined up. Now, I spent 8 years doing self-improvement. I started when I was around 18 years old, and I thought that I just needed to read more books. I needed to work out more. I just needed to make more money. And I started to ask myself, to what end, right? How many books do I need to read? And then what do I expect is going to happen? Why am I reading all these books? Why do I feel like I need to weigh 225 pounds and I need to be able to bench press 315? Why are these things important? All right. And it gets down to the root of what self-improvement is all about. All right. There's a lot of self-improvement YouTubers out there who are just going to tell you need to keep doing this and then your life is going to be better. Okay. And they don't really explain how or why. Okay. Self-improvement is all about improving your ability to influence others, okay? If you want to get better at influencing people, you need to learn a set of skills. Now, being able to read books, actually reading them as well, right? Working out, making more money, all of those things help you improve your influence. That's the one thing that all those things have in common. But again, to what end? What is the end goal with getting more influence? There's going to be two things, okay? Make more money, which is, again, just going to feed back into being able to influence more, but really having more control over your life and control over the world as a whole, right? Maybe not the largest sphere of influence, but a local sphere of influence that you can control with however much money that you have. But then also, on top of that, being able to have loving, lasting relationships. All right. And what I found is that instead of focusing all my energy on reading more books or working out more, focusing my energy on developing the skill set of dating paid much more in terms of like the return on investment than working out. Right. And what you'll see is that there are homeless men out there who can get girlfriends. So it's not that you actually need to be 200 pounds and be jacked. It's not that you actually need to have read, every single book like the 4-Hour Work Week. It's not that you actually need a 6-figure salary in order to develop the skill of influence, right? Again, the homeless man doesn't have any of those things. He's at the very bottom of society in terms of status. He's on hard drugs, right? All of these things haven't stopped him from being able to develop a very simple set of skills that's required to get a woman to not only like notice him, but then decide that, yeah, I'm going to continue spending time with you, right? If you want to improve, I promise you the best way to do so is to not focus so much on traditional forms of self-improvement, but to actually go out and start working on getting good at talking to girls. And what you're going to find is once you get good at that, you're going to feel confident in damn near every other area of life. But you're also going to have this huge catalyst, all right? Having a woman in your life, a one who supports you, one who she's invested in you, she loves you, right? Having that is going to make you go 10 times harder. It's going to provide you with that motivation that you feel like you need to just meditate even longer in order to achieve, right? Get yourself a girlfriend and you're going to find that all of a sudden, a lot of things in life become more pleasurable, becomes more enjoyable. You're more motivated. The idea of working an extra 20 hours overtime doesn't sound awful, right? Yeah, you're not going to have as much time to be with your girl, but she's going to be way more impressed when she's looking at that check or when you're able to take her out to dinner, right? And that's something that I don't know what it is inside the male brain. Unfortunately, I'm just not that smart, right? I admit that. But there's something about just testosterone. It makes you want to impress women, and actually having one to impress, having like a way, like almost a measuring stick to gauge how good you're doing, right? And there's a very fine line. You don't want to be working for the woman, right? You don't want to actually be trying to like put on a song and dance like you're performing for her, but you want to be motivated by her, okay? You don't want to go to the point where She is your entire world, but she can absolutely be the frosting on the cake. Okay. And that's going to make the cake that much sweeter. But the cake is your life. Okay. And when you have a cake and it's nice, but there's no frosting on it, I mean, yeah, it's a nice cake, but it's like missing a core component. You know, something that's very important to what makes a good cake is not there. All right. And it's very easy to fall into this trap when you're doing self-improvement, especially with some of these YouTubers out there, where you almost feel like having a relationship is going to slow you down. I used to be one of those men, and that's just not true. Not in my experience, not in the experience of the men that I've helped. All right. Having a girlfriend, but almost just as important, having the ability to date, right? Not knowing, like being able to replace your girlfriend, right? And being able to do so with confidence. It allows you to like move so much more freely through your relationship. It allows you to be more trusting and more open with your woman. It allows you to not be so dependent or needy on her, because you have the means to get whatever you're lacking if she's unable to provide. All right. And in an odd way, it's going to make you appreciate her even more. Again, it's something about testosterone, being able to have access to all the women that you like theoretically could want, or at least, 50% of the women that you want. Who knows what your actual success rate is, but having access to multiple women and then, taste testing everything on the menu and then picking out your favorite. It's like I'm invested in you because you're my favorite. Like you're my favorite because I'm invested in you, but I'm invested in you because you're my favorite. And again, one of those things I just can't explain, but when you do have this skill to date successfully, it's going to make you enjoy and appreciate your relationship much more. Right? It's all of a sudden not this thing that must be preserved by all means necessary. It's this thing where you can kick back and relax and decompress after a long day of work and put on Netflix and just be with your girl. And you know that she has you, right? That is something that you can't get in a book. You can't get by lifting more weights. You can't get that by making more money. And I guess, sure, you could buy a prostitute, but it's not authentic. And that's always going to be lacking in that transaction. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video. We're nearing on 8 minutes. If you want to land your first date in the next 30 days, click the link in the description below. All right. The link is going to take you to an online community filled with other single men who are focused on improving their dating skills. It's completely free. You can swap notes, get feedback, maybe even find a wingman in your local area, okay? Inside, you're going to find a 30-day challenge, which is going to go over all the steps you need to take and all the little tweaks you need to make in your life in order to land your first date. Because dating is a skill, which means it's just a set of behaviors. And if you emulate the behaviors, you will get the reward, all right? You do X, you will get Y. That's just kind of how the skill of dating works, all right? It's not too difficult once you know what to do, all right? Besides that, like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend, and I'll see you guys in the next one.